Hey guys, what's up? My name is Thomas Barker. Welcome back to another review. Today we're going to be talking about Mullvad VPN. Now, Mullvad VPN is an interesting VPN on the channel for many reasons. It's got in a very interesting place in the marketplace. A lot of people do like it for various reasons, and we'll cover those reasons in this review.
4 reasons my VPN reviews are better than the other ones on YouTube. Experienced. I've been reviewing VPNs for over 7 years, and I've almost reviewed 80,000 VPNs. Okay, it's more like 80. Transparent. You can see each individual score and rating for each VPN on the table on VPNTierlist.com. No other VPN reviewer is making these kind of tables with these kind of rankings because they don't want you to see the flaws in their reviews. Friendly. Come talk to me on my Discord. Link will be in the description down below, of course, and on VPNTierlist.com. I'm a very friendly dude. I like to make jokes. And yeah. See? Pretty funny, right?
So guys, first up, let's go ahead and talk about pricing with Mullvad. And one thing with Mullvad I really like is the transparent model. They don't really do subscriptions anymore, so if you buy a year after that, it's not going to automatically charge you. This is a huge plus in my opinion, and I think it's one thing more VPNs can do. At least have a pause or stop method easily available in the account page that you could control it more. Most VPNs kind of rely on that annoying subscription model, which can be annoying for customers. However, that said, there is a drawback to Mullvad's model in that you do sacrifice some of that transparency and ability to kind of control the payments, and you kind of do sacrifice some of the discount codes. So objectively, Mullvad is going to be more expensive the longer you pay for it. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's going to be 60 euros a year, which is around $60 nowadays since the UK economy has gone completely to trash, and most of Europe as well. So it's going to be around $60 a year, which isn't actually bad. They do get a point there, which is nice. The good thing is they also get a 6-month price plan too, because 6 months times 5 is around $30, which is what we're looking for. So they get 6 month and 1 year in terms of pricing, which I actually do like quite a lot. So the model works there really well up until a year. However, after that, you are going to start having to pay more for Mullvad, because if you subscribe for Mullvad for 2 years or 2 years worth, it's going to be $120, and some other VPNs out there can get significantly cheaper than that. Take, for example, TorGuard. You could get 2 years for less than, I think, around $50 or even less than that. Not 100% sure on that one. I think it's around $50. So the longer you subscribe to Mullvad, the more you're going to be supporting the company, and that could be a good thing depending on you, how you feel about it. So 3 years of Mullvad would be $60 every year, so it'd be $180 for 3 years, which is actually more expensive than most any other VPN. So Mullvad does have a very transparent and fair model, and I do like that a lot, but it has to be said, the longer you subscribe to it, the more expensive it does get. That said, Mullvad also doesn't have 8+ simultaneous connections, which is a little annoying. They don't offer any promo codes for any additional discounts, which is a good or bad thing depending on how you view pricing. I think most every VPN should provide some discount, which is nice, but not necessarily something they have to do. So guys, let's go ahead and talk about the application now, since pricing is pretty simple with Mullvad. And where the hell did it go? Here it is. So it likes to kind of hide there. I do believe there's like a way to kind of disconnect it. There we go. So now we could kind of take it off, which I do prefer. Now, Mullvad's app has been very similar the whole time I've reviewed this company. It really did a big update a couple of years ago to make it look more better. But this is kind of what it's looked like ever since. And that's not a bad thing, because this app is pretty good. It's very simple to use, very simple laid out. You could block ads and stuff like that, which I do like. It has kill switches, obfuscation options, good protocol support as well, and even split tunneling. Some of the things that Mullvad is missing out, though, is some of those compatibility things, which could be a big deal for you or not a big deal at all, depending on your specific use case. For example, they don't really support application download on Fire Stick for Amazon TVs, and they also do not have browser extensions, which is kind of odd since almost every other VPN does. If you go to the Amazon App Store and you type in Mullvad, you'll see that there is no result. You can download private VPN though, which is kind of funny. So it's kind of odd that Mullvad has never put any effort into adding an extension here for Fire Sticks, probably because they don't have very good streaming compatibility, and they realize there's not much point to having a VPN that's going to restrict you down so much at a certain level. Although I gotta say, you could just get a different kind of streaming device, maybe something like the Nvidia Shield, which probably would support Mullvad in that example. So just for specific people who like Fire Sticks, it is kind of big in the streaming community to use Fire Sticks as a way to do stuff. But besides that, they don't offer dedicated IPs for those people who want the convenience factor of dedicated IPs. Additionally, Mullvad doesn't sell their own routers, which could be a cool thing for them to consider, and they don't have remote VPN capabilities, allowing you to roam out into your network at home, which other VPNs like NordVPN and TorGuard are pioneering, and I think is going to be a bigger subject that people are going to want in the future, those kind of unique capabilities to remote into your home network to take advantage of stuff like accessing your Plex server and stuff like that. Next up though, we could talk about speeds. Now Mullvad is interesting because here's my speed result, 536 and 415. This is definitely a pretty good result. But if anything, there is a critique of Mullvad is that I've seen some people say, you know, we like Mullvad for these reasons, but I don't get the best speeds. And that's probably because Mullvad doesn't have the biggest server network in the world. It actually doesn't support 50 plus countries, which is one of the kind of things we look for. A lot of VPNs do support 50 plus, but Mullvad definitely has a smaller network. That said, with the network they do have, the speeds aren't horrible. I'm actually getting really good speeds right now. The speed test wasn't as good before, so sometimes my speeds with Mullvad can be inconsistent, but I'm not going to dock them too much there, mostly on the country supported. If you are outside of the country supported, Mullvad is going to be a little bit slower perhaps, but for me right now it's pretty fast, almost just as fast. Now Mullvad, how does it do in the privacy section? Well, it probably does very well, and a lot of people pick this VPN because it does extremely well in the privacy category. If you're someone who only cares about privacy, you don't want to do anything with streaming, you don't want a Fire Stick, you don't want a router, you don't want dedicated IP, you just want a good solid VPN for torrenting or something like that with port forwarding and good privacy practices, this one isn't bad to pick, especially if you don't mind paying a little bit more longer term. So as you can see here, Mullvad does not have any trackers on their website. They don't have any trackers on Android either. There's been no company acquisitions. It's always been owned by the same people, and they have an external no-log audit. I also forgot to mention they have an open source application, which is really privacy friendly and really well done. So Mullvad does excellent in privacy. One of the only caveats is they don't have two-factor authentication. I've seen people ask about this before. It's probably due to the combination of the weird account system. You kind of create a code and it's supposed to be a little bit more secure and anonymous than having an account, which could be compromised, which does kind of make sense. But I'm not going to give them points for 2FA just for that specific reason. It's really only 1 point though, so not a big deal. And it could be an advantage depending on if you do like the account creation system. You just kind of generate a code and copy and paste it. And it is probably one of the most intuitive ways to make an account with a VPN, and I really like it. So overall, no complaints there. Finally, we could talk about customer support, and actually Mullvad has done pretty well. It's a pretty small company, but they manage to answer tickets usually within 1 hour and always within 24 hours, so no complaints from me there. Additionally, like I said at the beginning of this review, Mullvad has always been polite to me. They haven't really interacted with me too much over the years, but they've never come after me personally or attacked my review system, even though I never really give them the full S tier ranking because they don't support streaming and some of those things, streaming compatibility, which is a requirement to get S tier. You're not gonna be able to get S tier if you don't perfect almost every single category, and Mullvad won't do that, as we'll talk about in a second. That said, despite that, I think Mullvad has seen my reviews and think they're probably pretty fair for what the product is, and complimenting them on the things they do well, like privacy is very good from them. And I mean, it's a VPN, right? So privacy, doing well in privacy is really good in my opinion. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna give them 5 points for giving the ability for me to handle, they can handle my criticism and do their thing and let me do my reviews and not try to censor me with a harassment or anything like that. Lastly, guys, so we could talk about streaming and we could kind of give an example here. We can use a website called UNOGS that will let you find a specific service. Let's look for something in the United States. The Ghost should be available in the United States. Now, I did give Mullvad points for working in the United States last time because it actually did. But let's go ahead and see if it still can. What we're going to do is click the search function here. We're going to look up the Ghost. If it can show the Ghost, what was it called again? Sorry about that. So it was called the Ghost Canada. Doesn't look like it's working now, even though it was before. So they're going to lose points there. And also, I can't get it working with a lot of other things. Now, let's say you're outside the United States and you want to watch something like The Ring of Power, or I don't know, say something like this show. Last time I tested it, Mullvad was working, strangely enough. I'm not sure why it doesn't get blocked on Prime Video. But let's try something with Prime specifically, make sure. And yeah, it does work. I'm not sure why Mullvad works with Prime Video, but it did in the past and it still does, which is kind of interesting. But if you're looking for a VPN that works to unblock streaming services, Mullvad is probably not the one to pick unless you specifically only care about Prime Video. Alright guys, it's time to wrap up the review, and even though there is no affiliation with this VPN and they're not paying me, never have paid me, I don't work for the company, I don't work for any VPN company, hope you feel like I've been fair with this one. Mullvad has one of the best and most transparent pricing models ever, I think. The only cons with that is that you do pay more long term and there's no two-factor authentication, although the unique account creation system makes it worth it, actually, I think, in my opinion. The good thing is, if they wanted to improve even more, they could offer a slight discount maybe for holiday sales, or even offer promo codes, and to everyone, it wouldn't have to be just to unique people, and offer more simultaneous connections. In the application department, they do very well, but they don't support Fire Stick, and they have no browser extensions. Additionally, they do not have dedicated IP support for people who like the convenience of using dedicated IPs and those kind of things, or residential IPs can be useful too. They don't sell VPN routers, which is kind of a bummer, and they do not have any remote VPN capability, allowing you to remote into your own network, which can be advantageous to see Plex content and stuff like that when you're traveling. Lastly, for speeds, they do really well for the most part, but they have limited country support with under 50 plus countries supported, which is our requirement. And in terms of streaming, you heard what I said about that already. So overall, Mullvad is a 43.5. It's going to be an A tier. Is it the perfect VPN? Well, no. If it did get full points for streaming, it would be around 51. So it would probably be closer to the top of A tier. That said, Mullvad is competing with some other VPNs out there. Something like Proton also has third-party audits, also is open source, also has an amazing application and decent deals once in a while. And it does offer more simultaneous connections and have a bigger server network and probably better speeds. And it offers streaming compatibility. So if people say, hey, Mullvad's a perfect product, Tom's a shill, well, there are other products out there that just do everything a little bit better. Not just in my opinion, just in some of these features we're looking at that I think most people do value. So overall, guys, that's my final thoughts on Mullvad. It's a really, really good private VPN that does lack some extra compatibility of other VPNs that do privacy very well too, but have a little bit more features. That's my final thoughts on this one, guys. Let me know if you decided to pick Mullvad in the comments down below, or if you want to get a better VPN, maybe consider something in S tier or the top of the top 5 rankings. So check that out on VPN tier list, and I'll see you again very soon.